Hey up internet and welcome to On the Sofa Live. And I've got a lot to chat about tonight. But I want to start with this video that was posted on Threads by Danny fucking Price. So let's have a look. Hang on. so so there you have it. Danny fucking Price added the caption, Kristi Noem has been sacked as Secretary of Homeland Security. So when is she going to go to jail for stealing $143 million from American taxpayers and funneling it into an 8-day-old company? That is a good question. That is a really good question. When is she going to go to prison? Because if I've understood this correctly, she has stolen $143 million from the American people, from the American taxpayers. I've got that correct, right? You know, it beggars belief. This is corruption. This is corruption. There's no other word for it. It's criminal. There's another word for it. Criminal. She should be behind bars. She should be locked up, man. She should be locked up for years, decades. They should throw away the fucking key. Let's look more into this news story. This is from Zateo. Breaking. Trump axes his puppy killer. What a headline. This is an article written by Andrew Perez and Asarwin Subswan. Sorry if I butchered that surname. I apologize. I should have practiced saying it before I went live, but next time. But the subheading says this: Kristi Noem is out at the Department of Homeland Security, partly for a very silly reason. The department will remain under the control of Stephen Miller. The article says this: Donald Trump has fired Kristi Noem, his monstrous Homeland Security Secretary, for what may be the stupidest reason possible. Noem wasn't fired for putting masked federal agents on the streets to racially profile and kidnap people, or for running a department that has repeatedly violated Americans' constitutional rights, or for overseeing agencies whose employees have senselessly murdered US citizens in cold blood on video. Instead, Noem was apparently fired for telling Congress under oath that Trump approved her department's $220 million ad campaign, a suite of ads in which Noem repeatedly demonized immigrants while lavishing praise on the president. So she hasn't been fired for stealing $143 million from American taxpayers. She's been fired, apparently, for telling Congress that Trump approved her department's $220 million ad campaign. The article goes on. It was not the only reason she was canned, but it certainly was the last straw of sorts. She has, after all, been pissing off other senior Trump appointees for months now, and some of her high-level colleagues have been leaking against her for a while, trying to drum up support for an ouster. On Thursday, news outlets reported on how President Trump was pissed that Noem told the Senate this week that the president had approved her department's glitzy ad campaign. On Thursday morning, Trump advisors were telling Zateo that Noem was days, not weeks, away from being fired or resigning, given how, as one advisor put it, disappointed the president was. So, so basically, in a nutshell, she's been fired for pissing off Donald Trump. That seems to be the nutshell as far as I'm concerned. She's been fired for pissing him off, just one too many times. By Thursday afternoon, the Trump advisors were proven wrong. It wasn't days, it was a few hours. Trump announced on Truth Social Thursday afternoon that he intends to replace Noem with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, the Republican from Oklahoma, I think that is. I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland, Trump wrote. Noem's firing came shortly after Trump spoke with Reuters about the DHS ad campaign. I never knew anything about it, he insisted. Sure. Right, pull the other one. Never knew anything about it. Bollocks. That's bullshit. Of course, I never knew anything about it. God. Like we can believe a word, any word that comes out of Trump's mouth. Come on. Of course he knew. He's just using Noem as a scapegoat. It's an amazing statement because that means the president is publicly claiming his soon-to-be former DHS secretary lied under oath before Congress. It is also a statement that is, well, just completely wrong. Noem said last February at a CPAC dinner that the ad campaign was Trump's idea and that he demanded she thank him in the ads. I'm not going to read the whole article. If you want to read the whole article, you can. You can go to the Zeteo.com and read it for yourself, because it's quite a long article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So, yes, Kristi Noem has been fired. She's been moved to a new role, and hopefully, if there's any justice, she'll soon be locked up for theft. For theft of the $143 million that we talked about earlier. And we've got Sinease in the chat. She says, it's a mess over here. Send help. Our justice system is broken. There is no accountability. Yeah, I think you're right, Sinease. I think you're right. And what's happening? Oh, I thought I had a message on Threads as well. No. Okay. So the next news item is this. Hang on. Can I haven't done this for ages, man. Can I share screen? Here we go. I should have done this before. You can tell it's been a long time since I've done this. It's been a couple of years. Well, here we go. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So Farage calls for changes to election voting rules. This is just sour grapes from Nigel Farage. Honestly, this is all because Hannah Spencer became the 5th member of Parliament for the Green Party. This is all because Hannah Spencer won that won the by-election at Denton and Gorton and Denton, and he's throwing a hissy fit basically. Because of this Green Party victory, he wants to change the election voting rules, because he's been saying that the Green Party cheated. He's been accusing them of organizing some kind of family voting, amongst the Muslim community, where strict Muslim husbands have been forcing their wives into the voting booth to vote for the Green Party. He's been accusing them of all sorts, but and now he's saying that he wants to change the election voting rules if he gets into power. The article, written by Kate Warnell, political reporter for the BBC, for BBC News, says this: Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has said he does not trust the voting system and has called for changes to who can vote in the general election, as well as who can apply for postal vote. This is all out of Donald Trump's handbook. Donald Trump wanged on about not trusting the postal voting system as well. He says that he says that the postal voting system can't be trusted. But yeah, Nigel Farage he keeps fangirling for Donald Trump. He's a Donald Trump fangirl. He's Donald Trump's bitch. He copies everything that he does. It's pathetic. The article goes on. Farage said Commonwealth citizens should no longer be able to vote in general elections, and that postal votes should only be granted to those with a good reason, such as being elderly, working abroad, or being on holiday on the day of the election. Speaking at a press conference in London, he argued that postal voting was massively open to fraud and intimidation, and that it should only account for 1 to 2% of the overall vote. He says all this without any evidence. He doesn't have any evidence for this, of course. He's chatting shit. He's a grifting bastard. He's a cunt. He's a lying toe rag. He's got no evidence for this whatsoever. He's just talking bollocks, chatting shit. I can't believe people still want to vote for him. They're either gullible, stupid, ignorant, or all three. I don't. Anyway, the article goes on. The government said the postal voting system had strict security features. A spokesperson for the Housing, Communities and Local Government Department said it would continue to ensure our elections are safe and secure while encouraging participation in our democracy. They said there were no plans to remove resident Commonwealth citizens' voting rights, adding, "We hold deep historical ties with many Commonwealth countries, and the right to vote for citizens living in the UK is a testament to this." At the last general election, more than a quarter of votes were cast by post. So like I said, this is all sour grapes on behalf of Nigel Farage. He just can't stand the fact that his boy lost to a member of the Green Party, to a normal person, to someone who isn't beholden to the millionaires and the billionaires, to a normal normal Manchester lass. Siney says this: "We got to plan a reunion special. I want to talk the files." Yeah. We need to do that. Definitely. Moving on. Let's right. Okay. Here we go. Labour MP breaks silence after husband's arrest in China spy probe. This is an article from the Daily Mirror by Dave Burke, political correspondent. A Labour MP says she has never had any reason to suspect her husband had broken the law after his arrest in a Chinese spy probe. Yeah, right. Sure. Paul, yeah, right. We believe her, don't we? Unbelievable. Joanne Reed's partner, David Taylor, is one of 3 men arrested in a Met Police swoop this morning. Miss Reed, the former MP for East Kilbride and Strathaven, stressed she is not an admirer or an apologist for the Chinese Communist Party's dictatorship. She said in a statement, "I have never seen anything to make me suspect my husband has broken the law." Yeah, right, sure. The Met Police said the suspects, aged 39, 43, and 68, were arrested by counter-terrorism officers in London and Wales. 3 properties in London, East Kilbride and Cardiff, were searched by officers. Miss Reed continued, "I am not part of my husband's business activities, and neither I nor my children are part of this investigation, and we should not be treated by media organizations as though we are. Above all, I expect media organizations to respect my children's privacy." And yet, according to The National, this Labour MP, Joanne Reed, her firm, her company, received £20,000 from husband accused of spying, or it says husband, but it's her partner. I don't think they're actually married, but anyway, her husband's partner accused of spying for China. So there's some dodgy shit going on here. There's some real dodgy shit. Are we really supposed to believe that she knew nothing about this? I'm calling bullshit. This is, she needs to be investigated as well. Yeah, because this is corruption. Corruption. We were told, we were assured by the Labour Party that only the best candidates were going to be selected to be MPs, and yet here we are again, and yet another scandal. It just seems to be one thing after another with the Labour Party at the moment. It seems to be just one scandal after another. Only the best candidates. Fuck me. This is embarrassing for Labour. It's just one thing after another with them. No wonder they're so unpopular. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. It's just one thing after another. They're as bad as the Tories. In my opinion, were if not worse. They're just as corrupt as the Tories were. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, they are Tories. They're just Tories with red ties. How anyone can still support them, it's beyond me. Moving on to the next story. Trump says Starmer is no Winston Churchill over Iran strikes. So, I woke up Saturday morning, like many others, to the news that America and Israel were bombing Iran for apparently no reason. As far as I'm concerned, this is an illegal war. There's no, Iran. Iran didn't have done nothing wrong. I mean, no. I mean, they've done a lot. I mean, the Iranian regime have done a lot of bad things, but in this case, they certainly didn't provoke this. They certainly didn't start this war. Is what I'm trying to say. And let's hear what the orange turd had to say about Keir Starmer.
And I'm not. By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease. Okay, he made it for whatever reason. He made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him, and it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
Yeah, and you're no JFK, you fat orange buffoon. Shut the fuck up. This is from BBC News. The article written by Jennifer McKernan, political reporter. It says this: President Donald Trump has told reporters Sir Keir Starmer is no Winston Churchill in the row over the refusal to permit the use of UK bases for the initial US-Israel strikes in Iran. Note the word initial there. I mean, so far, Starmer has said that we're not going to get involved. He's not going to join in with the strikes. But he's reluctantly allowing America to use some of his bases. Some of our bases, and just to. He's taken a defensive stance in order to protect British lives and British interests. But we'll see. I'm sure he'll U-turn eventually under pressure from Donald Trump, and he'll U-turn and send our troops in. But we'll see, watch this space. I could be wrong, but yeah, we'll see. The US has sought to use the military base in Diego Garcia on the Chagos Islands, but the Prime Minister refused, only agreeing to the US request to use British military bases subsequently for defensive strikes on Iranian missile sites. Speaking to journalists in the Oval Office, Trump said he was not happy with the UK over the decision, which led to US planes flying many extra hours. Royal Navy warship HMS Dragon has now been sent to bolster security at the British air base in Cyprus after it was hit by drone strikes. So the thing is, Starmer may want to distance himself from all this and say that we're not part of this war, but we're part of this war. We're part of this war whether we like it or not. The war has already begun. RAF Akrotiri was struck by Iran as well. So we're already a part of this war. And I just think it's only a matter of time before he commits to aiding America and Israel in this war against Iran completely. But I think the reason why he's reluctant to do so at the moment, and let's stop sharing. The reason I think that Starmer is reluctant to fully commit to aiding America and Israel in this war on Iran at the moment is because his approval is in the gutter. It's down amongst the wines and spirits, as they say. He's the most unpopular prime minister we've had for decades. Probably this side of the Second World War. He can't afford politically to get too involved in this war, because it will fuck up his political career. I mean, in my opinion, his political career is over anyway. Because of all the genocide enabling. But what do I know? Anywho, moving on to our final story of the week. This is from Kent Online, an article written by Daniel Essen, local democracy reporter. Councillor Kieran Mishchuk from Restore Britain on Swell Council apologises for accidental racist post on X. A member of a new right-wing party has apologised and distanced himself from a racist post on social media. Restore Britain's councillor Kieran Mishchuk says he didn't read the whole thing before sharing the message on X. And for those of you that don't know, Kieran Mishchuk, he was a member of Reform, but he recently he recently left Reform to join Restore Britain. Restore Britain is a new far right party. Who they're to the right of Restore Britain are to the right of Reform, and I mean one of their policies is to ban the burqa. For that's an example of one of their policies. So anyway. So there you have it. There you have some background now. That's how, that's who this kid is. He's a member of this far right political party called Restore Britain, and he says he didn't read the whole thing. Now, if that sounds familiar, it does. Because that's similar to what Donald Trump said when he posted that video depicting the Obamas as apes. He said that he when he was called out on it, he said that he didn't see the whole video. So this is straight out of the Donald Trump playbook again. Didn't read the whole thing, my ass. There he is. He looks about 12 years old, for God's sake. Fuck me. The offending communication, which is featured below, uses the N-word twice and referred to politicians as being on the Jew right. So not only racist against black people, but anti-Semitic as well. Councillor Mischuk, who represents Milton Regis on Swale Council, says the post, which was up for a day, was shared with his 8,000 followers by accident without reading it fully. So, the thing is, he claims that he shared it by accident without fully reading it first. So, he's either lying or he's incompetent. Which is it? Either way, he's too immature to be anywhere near the levers of power. He should fucking resign. He should resign and go back to school. So he needs to fucking resign and grow up a bit, and then maybe come back to politics when he's more mature. So this is you may want to call me ageist, I don't know, but this is just, in my opinion, this is immaturity on his part, and he's clearly not fit for public office. He needs to grow up, basically. That's my opinion, anyway. Anyway, the article goes on. He removed it once it was brought to his attention today, March the 3rd. So in other words, he's not sorry. He's just sorry he got caught. This is bollocks. The message takes the form of a chart showing politicians from US, UK, and Japan. One column describes politicians as being Sand N-word left, referring to Green leader Zach Polanski and US Senator Bernie Sanders. And you can see the chart that he posted below, on the screen there. Do we have more? Do we have more of the article, or just head first? Oh, hang on. Read on. Read on. So there's the chart. Sand N-word is a racist slur for people from the Middle East. The graph also refers to taxing locals to give welfare to N-words, and refers to Nigel Farage and Donald Trump as being on the Jew right. When brought to his attention, the 19-year-old disavowed it, saying, "I might have seen a bit and not read the whole thing. I'm pretty careful with what I repost." Yeah, right. It's pretty, the chart is pretty clear. You can't get clearer than that. Are we really supposed to believe he didn't read this before posting? Bollocks. Bullshit. That's bullshit. When brought to his attention, the 19-year-old disavowed it, saying, I've just read that bit. He unposted it and stressed, "I did not read the fine print." What fine print? This is not fine print. These are the headlines. If fine print is what would appear at the bottom, with an asterisk next to it, around about here maybe, that would be fine print. But no, that is not fine print, my guy. Come on, pull the other one. He also shared posts praising Enoch Powell, the controversial former Tory MP made famous for his 1968 Rivers of Blood speech. And so you can see the post below, on the screen now, with Enoch Powell's face, apparently from in heaven, I don't think he's in heaven. Well, I mean, I don't believe in heaven, but if there is a heaven, I don't think he's there. If anywhere, he's in the other place. Yeah, but you know, with the caption, "I warned you all." Okay, so that's that. You know, that's something else that that's another racist post that he reposted. You know, what a dickhead. As Kent's youngest councillor, he was elected to represent his home ward in a December by-election, polling 272 votes. Originally a member of Reform UK, he defected last week to Restore Britain, the party led by MP and former Reform member Rupert Lowe, which is generally perceived to be more radically right-wing. Last week he appeared on the Kent Politics podcast, where he detailed support for constituents for his defection. In recent months, he even appeared on Laura Kuenssberg's BBC documentary about reform, promoting Nigel Farage's party while on the sofa with his grandmother. Councillor Mischuk continued, "I read the bit that said mass deportations. That was not meant to be put out." Yeah, right, sure. Yeah, whatever. Bollocks. "Of course, I would disavow that language," he said in reference to the racial slurs. "I don't condone anything like that. It was a mistake." He added, "It was reposted in a tired scroll without reading. As soon as I noticed, I took it down." Bollocks! That is bullshit. No, because as we read earlier, he took it down when it was pointed out to him. He didn't notice. In other words, he didn't notice. Somebody had to point it out to him, and then he took it down. Yeah. When brought to his attention, the 19-year-old disavowed it. So he's a lying dickhead. He's a lying cunt. He didn't take it down when he noticed. He took it down when somebody else brought it to his attention. Mistake my ass. He's a racist cunt. Dickhead. So, and it begs the question: what is the vetting process? Is there a vetting process in place for people who join Restore Britain? Is there a vetting process in place for reform, for that matter? Because it doesn't look like it. This needs to be looked at. This needs to be investigated, because I'm sure he's not the only one with these views. The vetting process needs to be investigated, surely. And it needs to be investigated how many more people in Reform and Restore Britain have views like this, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's more, if there are more posts like this posted by other people as well. That it needs to be investigated. Restore Britain is they're a racist organization. They're fascists. Then if it walks like a Nazi and it talks like a Nazi, they're a fucking Nazi. Yeah. So that's the end of this. We've come to the end of the stream. So, and if you've watched this far, then do tune in next. I'm hoping to do, to continue to do this stream every Thursday at 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So watch this space. So do like, subscribe, share, support the stream. And yeah, if you want to support the stream, you can. The links are in the description. And so, yeah, tune in next week. Bye for now.